The Moon in the Dark, written by Tetsuro. Ruined Hearts. Once Wuana's bath was finished, she glanced up at Toriel. "Why do you even have dead Weta?" she asked with a sulky pout. Toriel chuckled. "For much the same reason we have the two middle floor tiles in that first puzzle chamber," she explained. "It isn't a puzzle unless there's a wrong way to solve it, in addition to the right one." Thinking about that, Wuana nodded in understanding. "But, why soapy water?" Toriel shrugged. "Originally, it was tar and feathers, but I felt that would not be fair to children who did not understand a puzzle, and since little children always need a bath, I replaced it with soapy water. I also marked the two switches that needed to be thrown." Wuana looked away sheepishly. "Oh, I thought it was spotted if once," Toriel chuckled softly. "A logical conclusion. Wrong in this case, but logical to think. The writing beside the other two actually tells you to throw them, though." "But how do I know that's not twined to with me?" Wuana asked. "Well, assuming I could wet it, I also signed it," Toriel explained as she walked Wuana to the levers, letting her throw them. Once both switches were thrown, spikes lowered before the exit to the chamber, and Wuana followed Toriel into the next small chamber. This one was a square chamber with only the western entrance they'd come through, a northern exit, and some sort of training dummy. "What's this?" Wuana asked curiously. "With how powerful the magic of your soul is," Toriel began, "some monsters in the underground will be scared of you on first meeting. They might attack you out of fear, or other reasons, in some cases." She shook her head as though to dispel unpleasant thoughts. "When that happens, you will enter a fight. While in a fight, strike up a friendly conversation. Try and make friends until I come to assist you." "Can I hug them instead?" Wuana asked. "I'm not so good with words yet," Toriel chuckled softly. "While that can work sometimes, some monsters value their personal space a little too highly, and might perceive a hug as an attack. Try and assess their mood before attempting to hug them." She then gestured to the dummy. "Approach, and enter a practice fight with this dummy." As Toriel moved to stand in front of the northern exit, Wuana approached the dummy. She expected to find herself in the black field, as she had against Flowey, but something different happened. Lines of light surrounded her in the dummy, and her soul became visible on her chest, along with a yellow and blue bar over her head. "Toriel?" she asked worriedly. "What? Do not be afraid, my child," Toriel reassured her. "This is what a fight looks like when you can see the world around you. I assume you've experienced a fight before, but in total darkness. With the one who hurt you?" When Wuana nodded, Toriel smiled at her. "That only happens when there is no light around you, and the soul becomes the source of light. For now, practice fighting the dummy without hurting it." Wuana turned to the dummy, trying to figure out what to do. At first, she thought about hugging it, but it didn't look like it wanted a hug. The only other option was to try and talk to it. "Oh, hi," she offered, waving one hoof. The dummy waved back. Yelping, Wuana dashed out of the lines of light to hide behind Toriel. The lines vanished as she passed over them. Toriel, glancing in confusion at the dummy, leaned down to comfort Wuana. "Let's continue on, shall we?" She then took Wuana into the next room. Behind the dummy, Flowey cackled to himself. A petty revenge for his humiliation from before, but the look on Toriel's face made it all the more delicious. "Calm down, my child," Toriel whispered reassuringly to Wuana. "There is nothing bad about what happened." "But, you didn't say the dummy'd wave back," she complained. "I didn't expect it to," Toriel replied. "However, it's possible a mischievous spirit possessed it momentarily." Wuana blinked. "Spirit? A Blake, perhaps," Toriel allowed. "They long to become one with physical vessels, so perhaps one was attempting to possess the dummy when we entered the chamber, and decided to wave back, not knowing it would terrify you." Wuana managed to get her shaking under control. "Didn't know that could happen," she muttered. "So, what now?" She glanced around at the chamber they were now in. The chamber was another long one, this time divided into two sections near the middle. In the part they were in, the room and walls were bare, and a squiggling path was drawn on the floor. She could see the second section was hidden behind a twist in the path. "There's another puzzle in here," Toriel explained. "I wonder if you can solve it." Knowing Wuana's fondness for puzzles now, Toriel felt challenging her with one might be the best way to get her past the scare of the dummy. Grinning eagerly, Wuana rushed ahead, only to find herself in a fight. A frog-like monster, the name on the green bar over its head proclaimed it a frogget, leapt into her path, bracing itself for combat. Wuana noticed it was nearly as scared as she was. "Want a hug?" she asked, holding her forelegs open. Unfortunately, she forgot to use her wings for balance, and wound up falling onto her back. "Oomph." The frogget let off a croaking laugh, relaxing completely. Approaching, it helped her back to her hoods before accepting, and reciprocating, the offered hug. The fight lines dissolved, and the frogget patted her on the head before hopping away, leaving 2 small gold coins behind. "Wait!" Ruina called out. "You forgot your bits." The frogget did not respond. "He didn't forget them," Tawil explained as she approached. "Now that you've befriended him, he left you that gold as an apology for attacking you, and as a sign of friendship, to help you on your journey." "Ooh," Ruina replied as she wrapped her mind around it. "I'm opened every minster in Darndaground," she proclaimed, her fast speech exaggerating her slide lisp. Tawil smiled happily. "That's a wonderful idea," she praised softly. "For now, do you have any ideas regarding the puzzle?" She gestured forward. The next part of the room had pools of water surrounding an island of spikes. On either side of the platform of spikes were wooden bridges connecting the island to normal ground. Ruina examined it for a time. Swimming," she offered. Tawil blinked a few times, then chuckled. "Yes, I suppose you could swim around it, but that's evading the puzzle, not solving it." "Then, the spikes can be stepped on?" Ruina asked incredulously. "There is a safe path of that sort, yes," Tawil promised. Curious, Ruina extended her hoof, surprised to see the spikes lower as her hoof touched them through her silver hoofshoe. Feeling more confident, she tested the square of spikes in front of that one, and it went down as well. When she tested the third, however, the spikes did not descend, and touching them sent a shock of pain through her body. As she fell back, even before she could scream, Tawil had caught her. "I'm sorry, my child," she whispered as she healed the injury. "I had hoped to encourage you, but perhaps this puzzle is a bit much for you." Tawil stood up, but felt a tug on her hand. Glancing down, she saw Wuanos standing on her hind legs, wings spread for balance, both little hooves in Toril's right hand. Tawil smiled softly. "How about I walk you through this one?" she offered. Ruina nodded, and carefully walked alongside Toril, stepping only where she did as she was led through the spikes. As they reached the end of the twisting safe path, she gasped. "The squiggle," she cried out. "The one on the FWOOR in the first pot. It's the safe path." "Very good, Ruina," Tawil praised, kneeling down to pet her head. "You are so clever, my child. I'm very impressed." "Thank you, Mommy," Ruina called out, then gasped as she realized what she said, covering her mouth with her hooves. Tawil blinked, surprised. "Ruina?" she asked softly, hesitantly. Ruina hunkered in on herself. "It's just, you call me a child, you pwise me when I do good, make it all better when I get hurt, doesn't that make you my mommy?" She looked up at Toril, her eyes pleading and lip quivering. A huge conflict surged inside Toril. On the one hand, here was a child like all the others, asking to call her mom. Always before, she had said they could call her whatever they liked. The slight distancing there had always been to protect her own heart. She cared so much, and she'd lost her own 2 children already, and each of those she'd let call her mom since, all 6 of them. Always, they would move on, and she couldn't protect them. But it was different this time. The children who had asked to call her mom, those 6, had not been as young. Each had easily been 10 years old enough for a good deal of independence. Calling her mom was a source of comfort to them in a strange new world. She loved each of them, but it wasn't quite the same as how she felt about her own children, and she'd let them go when they wanted to go back to the surface, and cried as she learned of their fate. But Ruina, she was still slurring her speech. She was so young. This wasn't a child seeking the momentary comfort of a mother substitute. This was a toddler calling out for love and compassion, lost and alone. If she said yes here, it would mean opening our heart completely to Ruina, and truly becoming our mother. And, someday, Ruina might leave the ruins, and her soul used to break the barrier. Tawil didn't think she could bear losing another child. Had this been over the phone as it had been with the other children, perhaps she could have maintained that bit of emotional detachment, protecting our own heart. But staring into those hopeful, pleading eyes, and seeing that hope start to fade from her hesitation to be replaced by despair, she knew there was only one response she could give. She could not destroy this child just to protect herself. Kneeling, she pulled Ruina into a tight embrace. "If that is what you need," she began, slowly building up to the words she knew would leave her open to a pain she didn't think she could handle again and feared was inevitable. "Then yes, I am your mother." She felt tears pour from her eyes, both from joy of being a mother again, and from fear of the pain she was certain would come. Ruina gasped in shock as Toril knelt down and pulled her into the tight hug. However, when she heard the words, tears fell from her own eyes. Wrapping her forelegs and wings around as much of Toril's neck as she could, she buried her face in the crook of the goat woman's neck. Finally, she was able to speak. I love you, Mommy. The shared love between mother and child filled them both with determination. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed